बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम वसल्लल्लाहु अला नबिय्यिल करीम रब्बि इश्रह ली सदरी वयस्सिर ली अमरी वहलुल उक़्दतम मिन लिसानी यफ़क़हू क़ौली। The theme for the present day talk is the schools of fiqh in Islam. The schools of fiqh in Islam. Yesterday, I happened to meet a scholar, a senior scholar. He was not a Muslim, but he was a very sincere person. He said that I am interested in religious studies. I'm interested in religious studies. So I have studied Islam in detail. He said that I have read Quran and Hadith from its translations, or English translations. I was impressed very much. I found that Islam is a unique religion in terms of oneness, in terms of the concept of oneness. Tawheed is the basis of the religion of Islam. In Islam, God is one, Prophet is one, Quran is one. So all the system of Islam is based on the concept of one. It is very fascinating. But at the same time, I found that there is a contradiction in Islam. Because Islam divided into four schools of fiqh. You know, there are different schools of fiqh like Hanafi, Shafi'i, Hanbali, and Maliki. Although in terms of history, there are more than 4 schools, but the popular schools are these 4 schools of fiqh. So he said that why Islam divided into 4 fiqh? It is not understandable to me. So I said, do you want in detail? Do you want to explain this in detail or in short? He said, no, I want to know in detail, and I have enough time to listen from you. So I said that the first guiding principle in this regard is the principle of differentiation. You have to differentiate between Islam and Muslims. You have to judge in the light of Islamic teachings, that is Quran and Hadith, not in the light of Muslim practices. Then I said that this kind of differentiation is found in every religion. You know, Christianity as represented by clergy is based on the concept of atonement and sonship. But these concepts are not found in the Bible in its direct text. Although there are some inferences, but inference is not enough. establish the basic creed of any religion. Then you see among Hindu scholars say that there is no idol worship in Vedas, but the majority of Hindus are idol worshippers. Then scholars say that in Gita there is no such caste system which is known at present. But the Hindu society is based on caste system. So this kind of difference is found in any religion, in every religion. So I said that this is the first principle. If you want to know the exact meaning of Islam, you have to follow this principle, that is principle of differentiation. Then I said that, see the word fiqh. Although fiqh, Fiqh, is an Arabic word, and also this word is found in Quran and Hadith. There is a verse in the Quran, فَلَوْلَا نَفَرَ مِن كُلِّ فِرْقَةٍ طَائِفَةٌ لِيَتَفَقَّهُوا فِي الدِّينِ لِيَتَفَقَّهُوا فِي الدِّينِ. So is the case of Hadith. There is also Hadith that وَمَن يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يَفَقِّهْهُ فِي الدِّينِ. So word fiqh is used in both the references in Quran and Hadith, but it is not there in modern concept, in modern sense. In Quran and in Hadith, fiqh is used in the sense of wisdom. Literally, fiqh means wisdom. And in Quran and Hadith, it is used in this literal sense, wisdom. Here it means divine wisdom. So according to the Quran and Hadith, fiqh means divine wisdom. But in present term, fiqh means law, Sharia law. Now people use fiqh as Sharia law. But in this sense, you cannot find this word in Quran and Hadith. Then I said that why there are different schools. These different schools are not quite baseless. These different schools are based on those differences which are found in the Hadith literature. Mostly these differences pertain to the prayer, Salat prayer, for example. So if you read Quran, you will find that in Quran there are several mentions of Salat, there is namaz or prayer. But in Quran there is no practical details of Salat. No, not at all. Quran says that قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Those believers are successful who perform Salat with God consciousness, with khushu. Khushu means divine consciousness. Also, there are some more verses in the Quran regarding Salat. But you cannot find any detail about practical form of the Salat. Practical form of Salat is found only in Hadith. The Prophet of Islam has said, Sallu kama ra'aytumuni usalli. perform salat prayer as you see myself. So imitate my prayer. So in Quran you can find commandment of salat, but without practical details. These details are found in hadith literature. Now, what happened? Hadith literature was not compiled during Prophet of Islam. It was compiled during Abbasid period. During Abbasid period. And you know there is a hadith. Prophet of Islam has said, Khairul Quruni Qarni, Summal Ladina Yalunahum, Summal Ladina Yalunahum. The best period is my period. Then the next period, and then the third period. It means that there are three periods: prophetic period, Sahaba period और Tabi'in period. यानी period of the Prophet of Islam, then the period of companions of the Prophet of Islam, then the companions of the companion of the Prophet. It is Rasul, Sahaba and Tabi'in. So these three periods are called Qurun Mashhud Laha Bil Khair. These three periods are ideal period in Islam. But you see, the compilation of hadith was not. Hadith was compiled only in the Abbasid period. That is not included in three periods. During three periods, there was no compilation of hadith. Although hadith was prevalent, although people are remembering hadith every day, but mostly through their memory. So hadith was present in all these periods, but in terms of compilation, it was not. So compilation began during the period of during Abbas period. You know, the political, in terms of political period, there were, first was Prophet's period, the second was Khilafat Rashida, the third was Umayyad period, and fourth was Abbasid period. So hadith was compiled in this fourth period, the Abbasid period. Now what happened? Although these hadiths were prevalent among Muslims, hadiths were not unknown. All the hadiths were quite known to those Muslims, but not in a compiled form, not a book form. So all these hadiths were compiled in book form during the Abbasid period. So what happened? When hadiths were compiled, hadith means all those traditions received from the companion. All those hadiths, all those traditions were not received by the Prophet himself, but through the companions of the Prophet. So there are three meanings of hadith, according to the scholars. One, the sayings of the Prophet of Islam, the practice of the Prophet of Islam, and also the sayings and practice of Sahaba. So some scholars To differentiate between the two, they use two terms, hadith and asar. ASAR, hadith and asar. So by hadith, they mean hadith of Rasul, and by asar, they mean saying of the saying of the companions, asar sahaba. So, but according to the Muslim scholars, there is no difference. There is no difference between the two. Both are authentic. If a saying is established, it is authentic, either from hadith, from Prophet, or from the companion of the Prophets. Because Prophet has said that as-sahabatu kun-nujum bi-ayyihim iqtadaytum ihtadaytum. My companions are like stars. So you have to follow any one of them. You will be on right path. So what happened? When the hadith was compiled in book form, people discovered that there is a difference. After compilation, this difference was very obvious, that all the Sahaba, although were performing Salat, but there were some differences in method. So here arose the question, which one of those differences is correct? When they came to know that there are differences among the Sahaba practices, and also Sahaba narrated in a different way. For example, some Sahaba said that Prophet said Amin bil jahr, loudly. Amin loudly. It's called Amin bil jahr. Some say that no, Prophet said Amin secretly, that is bisir. So Amin bil jahr or Amin bisir, both were narrated by Sahaba. So according to these narrations, people came to know that sometime Prophet said Amin loudly, sometime he said Amin secretly. So there was a question. Then some say that Prophet put his hand like this, and some said that he put his hand like this. So such kind of differences were there. So now there is a question, what to do? So there were two groups of scholars. Two groups of scholars. This happened during Abbasid period. Some scholars said that this is the matter of tawassu, the diversity. Take it as a tawassu, as a diversity. Both are true. Because there is a hadith, ashabi kan nujum bi ayyihim iqtadaytum ihtadaytum. This is the saying of the Prophet of Islam. Ashabi kan nujum bi ayyihim iqtadaytum ihtadaytum. My companions are like stars. Any one of them follow, and you will be on right path. This is the saying of Prophet. My companions are like stars. Follow any one of them, and you will be on right path. So they said that, taking this hadith, we believe that all those methods are correct, which is proved by the Prophet of Islam or by the companions of the Prophet. But the other scholars adopted a different formula. That is, al-haqqu la yata'addad. Al-haqqu la yata'addad. It means that there is no diversity in the truth. Al-haqqu la yata'addad. There is no diversity in the truth. So we have to take one and leave others. So they invented a new principle, that is tarjeeh or tafzeel. This kind of terminology was not used during Prophet Islam or during the companions. It was used during fuqaha, during a past period. Tarjeeh and tafzeel. It means that we will take one and we will leave others. That is selective. We select one and we will leave others. This is tafzeel and tarjih. So they said that al-haqqu la yata'addad. So it is not possible for us to follow all those methods, all those traditions, although there are differences. It is this notion or this concept that created all those schools. And the point was that these people, these fuqaha, these scholars, were not in a position to say that this is right, this is wrong, this is correct, this is incorrect. No, because all those traditions were established traditions. They were not in a position to say that this is right and this is wrong. So they adopted the principle of tarjih or tafzeel, in selective principles. But what was the rationale behind uh, this practice? So I would like to refer Imam Shafi'i. Imam Shafi'i was a great scholar. His book is Kitabul very important in fiqh literature. Very important. Kitabul Fiqh, Kitabul So he says in this book a very silly, very silly type of argument, because he himself has adopted the same principle, al-haqqu la yata'addad. So he says that ra'i sawabun yahtamilul khata. Ra'i sawabun, and hada qawl Shafi'i. This Shafi'i principle. Ra'i sawabun yahtamilul khata. Wara'i ghairi khataun yahtamilul sawab. It means that my opinion is correct. See the argument. My opinion is correct with the possibility of being incorrect. My opinion is correct with the possibility of being incorrect. An opinion of others is incorrect with the possibility of being correct. What a ridiculous formula. But it was adopted by all those fuqaha, all those scholars. So according to my analysis, according to my study, the first was right formula. بأيهم اقتديتم اهتديتم. This is saying of Prophet of Islam. Then I would like to say that always in everything there are two different parts, in fundamental and non-fundamental, or basics or non-basics. For example, in this room, there are several persons all are sitting. If one enters in this room and says, there are 4 persons all are sitting. In one sense, it is correct, but all are not seated in a single mode, MOD. Mode or method is different. All the four are sitting, but in different mode, in different method. So is the case of salat prayer. So there are two different part of salat, fundamental and non-fundamental. So there is no difference at all in. So as far as the fundamental part is concerned, or basic part is concerned, so far as the basic part of salat is concerned, there is no difference at all. All those differences pertain to the non-basics. For example, all those companions report, all the companions report that Prophet prayed 2 units of Salatul Fajr. Prophet prayed 4 units of Salat al-Zuhr. Prophet prayed 4 units of Salat al-Asr. Prophet prayed 3 units of Salat al-Maghrib. Prophet prayed 4 units of Salat al-Isha. So there are some items of Salat about which there is no difference. But in some other part of the Salat, there is difference. So I would like to say that there are two different parts of Salat. In a basic part and non-basic part. So as far as the basic part of Salat is concerned, there is no difference at all. But as far as the non-basic part of Salat is concerned, there is difference. And that difference is not unwanted, but it is wanted. Because namaz is not simply a repetition of form or rituals. Salat prayer is not simply a repetition of some rituals, some form. No, it is deeply rooted in our sentiment in terms of form. Salat is an expression of our inner spirit. So anything that has these two parts, inner spirit and outer form, it is bound to be different. For example, love. Take love. If you love your friend, then you meet your friend several times. Is it not possible to meet with your friend every time in the same manner in terms of form? It's not possible. Because you love your friend. Love is an inner spirit. So when this inner spirit takes the form of outer expression, there is bound to be different. In form, every time there is difference. But in spirit, there is no difference. So namaz has two different aspects. Basic part of the salat and non-basic part of the salat. In non-basic, not possible to in uniformity is not possible. But in basics, there is uniformity. I will give an example, very relevant. One day, the Prophet of Islam led a salat. There is congregational prayer. So during salat, we say after ruku, Sami Allahu liman hamida. So leader says Sami Allahu liman hamida, and the muqtadi say Rabbana lakal hamd. It is well known to all those who pray. that Imam says, Sami Allahu liman hamda. And then the Muqtadi say, Rabbana lakal hamd. But what happened? One Sahabi said at that time, Rabbana lakal hamd hamdan kasiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. He added some more words. Routine word was Sami Allahu liman hamida. But he added some more words and said, Rabbana lakal hamd hamdan kasiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. So after the prayer, when Prophet finished his prayer, he asked, who was that person who said like this? Who said like this? So there was silence. There was a pause. That person was in fear. Maybe I was wrong. And I will be punished. So Prophet said, no, it was not wrong. It was greatly appreciated by God. Why? It was expression of his sentiment. When you say, Rabbana lakal hamd, you are repeating some ritual words. It is simply repetition of some memorized words. When you say, Rabbana lakal hamd, you are repeating some memorized words. But that Sahabi, when he was praying, he was inspired with the remembrance of God. He remembered God and he was inspired. He received a thrilling experience. And this thrilling experience was expressed in such a way that he said, Rabbana lakal hamd hamdan kasiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. It was a expression of Iman. It was expression of taqwa. See, it was greatly appreciated by God and by the Prophet. So here you can see here is the difference. He deviated from the routine and said a new sentence. But he was right. He was appreciated. Why? Because Salat, prayer, is remembrance of God. It is not simply a repetition of some rituals. No. When you remember God, it is but natural that you feel some inspirations, some thrilling inspirations. At that time, it is not possible for you to simply repeat some memorized words. Your heart will, at that time, your impressions will manifest in some more words. The thrilling experience, the thrilling sentiment which you experience at that time, it is not for you to contain that sentiment in your heart. You will say something, some more words, some more sentences, not simply the memorized sentences. So that Sahabi was thrilled and he received inspiration from God. So abruptly he said, Rabbana lakal hamd hamdan kasiran tayyiban mubarakan fi. This is true prayer. This is true salat. This is true dua. It was highly appreciated by God and by the Prophet. So all those people who try to make a single form of salat. They were wrong according to my analysis. It was a reduced form of salat. It was a reduced form of salat. So those people who said that بأيهم اقتديتم اهتديتم, anyone follow any one of them, follow any one of them, and you will be on right path. This was the correct meaning of salat. So all those schools of fiqh like Hanafi and Shafi'i and Maliki and Hanbali, all those school of fiqh were invented. They are innovation. Because before this period, during Sahaba period, all those Sahaba were praying salat in different way, not a single way. But there was no objection. No one objected because they consciously know that there are two different parts of the salat, the basic structure and non-basic structure. In basic structure, there was no difference. But in non-basic, it was but natural that there may be difference. Someone will say, Sami Allahu liman hamida, Rabbana lakal hamd. Someone will say, Rabbana lakal hamd, hamdan kasiran, tayyiban mubarakan fi. Because it is inner expression. You cannot limit your inner expression in a single form. So this was the genesis of 4 schools. You can follow any one of these schools if you are not a great alim. But for those who can understand, who are alim, who can read, they are not required to follow any one of these schools. These schools are only for facilitation, only to facilitate. In this sense, they are right. But if you take these schools as take these in absolute sense, then you are wrong. So don't take these schools in absolute sense, but take it in the sense that it is only to facilitate due to practical reason. Then you are right. This is my experience, and this is my study.